Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Is the president trying to save Social Security, privatize it, or destroy it? We'll have a discussion. And Harry Reid, the Republicans are now calling him an affable old guy. To debate the president's plan on Social Security, nationally recognized financial expert Louis Navellier. And also to debate the topic, Tim Hay, former state consumer advocate. And break out your hard hats for today's Power Pundit panel, Mary Lau, Alfredo Alonso, and Andy Barbano. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And the centerpiece of the next portion of President Bush's foray in the next 4 years will be the reforming of Social Security to allow privatization of a small portion of that Social Security. To discuss this, we have two fine people, Louis Navellier, who's President and CEO of Navellier and Associates, and Tim Hay, former consumer advocate for the state of Nevada. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Sam.
You know, every month I take out money, I put it into the stock market, medium risk, and gotten a nice return, goes up and down over the years, but why would it be a problem for me to be able to take a portion of my Social Security and be able to utilize that to invest it the way I want to?
Well, you know, I don't think that's a problem, Sam, actually. I think what we need to do in this country is to improve incentives for private savings. Now, the issue with Social Security is really, it's a long-term actuarial problem where the benefits in 2042 or thereafter appear to be inadequately funded. Privatization, although I think there's a lot to be said for encouraging younger workers particularly to invest in stocks or other reasonable investments, is important, but that doesn't solve the funding problem for Social Security in the out years. Obviously, when we're talking maybe 40 years down the road, any of these actuarial assumptions can be wildly, basically inaccurate. Maybe a few million people more in the workforce makes a big difference.
Yeah, because if you go back 40 years and try to make a prediction, we would have no clue of all the things that have been
No, absolutely not. And obviously we've had a very substantial downturn in the stock market in the early part of the century. Now the market's doing better. Particularly last December was very, very positive sign. But Social Security was designed as a safety net for folks that are not affluent. And Social Security is provided for many older Americans really the only safety net they have. So I think we need to look at a bigger range of options. The payroll tax is regressive.
Well, okay, well, hang on. Let's get Louis in here.
Okay.
All right. Well, it is an actuarial problem, which is a nice way of saying that it's a pyramid scheme, and it always was a pyramid scheme. And the only way it can be fixed is to open up the borders and get more workers paying in, and run it as a pyramid scheme.
You know, you're the first person. I've been thinking about that. That's one thing that hasn't been brought into this equation. Is they're saying that the system will fail because we'll have less people paying into the system and more people collecting the benefits. But the reality is that if we were to have more people coming into this country, then we could certainly raise the number of workers.
There's 35 million undocumented workers in the United States, of which 14 million are illegal. Okay, now Bush wants to deal with this, but his own party obviously tried to obstruct that prior election, and now Bush is going to try to get it through. But I think a lot of us learned in Nevada when it snowed we couldn't clean up without cash. That was the underground economy. I have a home in Florida. Couldn't clean up after a hurricane without cash. Okay? And this is just a big part of the underground economy. You know, according to the payroll survey, we're at record employment now. According to the household survey, record employment. But you know what? Men are disappearing off the payroll. They're disappearing. You know why? Because people get paid in 1099. They can get paid in cash. Okay? I have not paid myself for 2 years because of the payroll tax they put on. I'm under the banking rule. I have a 2% payroll tax, so I didn't pay myself. But I can pay myself in a K-1, and I don't have to pay the tax. Okay? So you just don't get your money from payroll. Oh, and guess what else they did? If you run a C corporation, which is all the public plans, do you want to get paid in dividends at 15%, or do you want to get paid in payroll at 35%? So guess what's happening? Corporate buybacks are a 20-year high. Dividends are increasing left and right. So all this is undermining Social Security, all of it. The Economist magazine just pointed out was where are all the men going, okay? Because the men are working underground now, more and more. Or they're getting paid in K-1s, 1099s, or in dividends, okay? Even if you're a big executive in a major company. The system is flawed, okay? And it's the only way to deal with it is to give people their money, okay? And all private accounts do, it expands ownership society, and everybody wants to see where their money is. And that's going to make them feel better. And it's an eloquent political solution. The people over 55 don't want it, so they're not going to get it. The younger people aren't even paying into it, okay? And so now they might be more willing to pay into it if they can get an account.
Okay, let's take a break. Lots more on this. It's a very complex issue, and a lot of people out there are very worried about this. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're talking Social Security and with Louis Navellier, and we also have with us today Tim Hay. Louis, I got to tell you, there's a lot of people out there who are saying right now that the drum beats of the war in Iraq are being beaten for the Social Security system, that it's in desperate shape, and if we don't fix it tomorrow, it's going to fall apart. And the Democrats are certainly saying that's not the truth. And there are also people saying that Wall Street and financial advisors and stockbrokers are going to make a fortune out of this. What's your response to that?
Well, Wall Street wants the money. I mean, if you study Wall Street, the market is very strong between Thanksgiving and April 15th, because that's when all the pension funding occurs, okay? And then in the summer months, it's just bad, okay? And there was a 20-year period where if you invested in the market between June and November, okay, you made no money for 20 years, okay? And the seasonality market is very obvious. So this would get more money come in, remove some of the seasonality. But also the dividend relief's doing that too. So,
but why should a national program help out one particular industry?
It's not helping out. It's all help out the banking industry as well, because they own a lot of the fund managers and things like that. But the Social Security system returns 0.7% on their investments, and that if that was a major pension fund, everybody would be fired. So somehow they have to get the return up. And we don't care whether they do it in bonds or stocks or CDs. We don't care. Just do it, okay? And then, you know, they keep expanding this ownership thing. Everybody wants to see a little statement what they have.
But my point is, well, I'm not so sure that everybody wants to see that. I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but not necessarily in practice. But this doesn't even fix the Social Security problem. This is actually another whole program. The White House has actually admitted this.
Yeah, exactly. They're basically taking a pyramid scheme that will never work in the long haul, okay? Because it's a pyramid scheme. It'll blow up. I mean, again, we can open
and what you mean by that is that the money actually isn't there.
No,
they use that money for the general
You take it
fund.
from Peter to pay Paul, and then you used to have 16 to 1 paying in. Now you got a few people to 1 paying in. So it's destined to blow up. But we can open up our borders and invite a few 100 million people in and then install the catastrophe for maybe 100 years or so.
Tim, you know, there are some that say that the president just doesn't want to just reform Social Security. Actually, he wants to destroy it. That he and the neocons really feel that this is just part of the welfare state, and it's part of their long-term plan to be able to get rid of it. What's your thought?
Well, you know, I think you have to look at the genesis of the program, Sam. When during the Depression, Franklin Roosevelt proposed Social Security, it was designed as a pay-as-you-go program, and it was never a investment account. People that are currently wage earners were supporting people that were retired. Now the demographics have changed. We need to look at ways to preserve that fundamental part of the Social Security safety net, because you know, we've got kids out there that are, you know, working at McDonald's, may go to college, may get a career, but there is some fundamental social value to assuring that when, you know, kids are older, that they've got that security. So, yeah, I think you need to look at it in two ways. One, I think the federal government needs to do whatever it can to encourage personal savings. Our savings rate in this country is very low. Maybe giving tax incentives to businesses that do 401k plans or other plans to match savings is, you know, a sensible approach. But I don't think you want to remove that fundamental pillar of Social Security And by diverting revenues as the president's plan, although the details have not been, particularly forthcoming, you start down a very slippery slope. And if those revenues are not there in the future, I think we're looking at much bigger problems down the road than we have now.
And Louis, the president hasn't even put in the cost yet, which is going to be in the trillions of dollars to get this plan founded. Does that make financial sense to you?
Sure it does, because the current system earns 0.7% annually, okay? And there are ways to circumvent the system. I mean, again, payroll's at a record high, but workers are disappearing, okay? A lot of people work that don't pay Social Security taxes, okay? So...
But can't you legislate that?
The only way to do it is with general funds. The only way to fix this long term is to get the general funds, okay? That's the only way. Again, I don't pay myself a salary since Nevada put the payroll tax on, because I got taxed at 2 and it irked me, so fine, I won't pay myself, okay? But I get a K-1 from the company that I pay income taxes on, of course, okay? People pay 1099s, most of them don't, okay? I'm already paid in Social Security. I already did it. I'm already eligible. I don't have to put any more money in it, okay? I already did my fair share for 25 years.
Well, and Sam, this whole issue of the low return for the Social Security Trust Fund is kind of a false issue because it's a pay-as-you-go system. There's not a corpus of funds that are earning an income. Now, if we had actually walled off, the famous Al Gore lockbox, and said that we're going to take these funds, not spend them for other programs, and invest them, in a responsible way, actuarially we'd be in much better shape. But the federal government's borrowed those funds. They're going to have to start paying them back probably in about 2018 or so. Those will come out of general revenues. And that's kind of a fundamental policy distinction that we need to make. Are we going to set up a retirement plan that actually sets aside funds to pay for, your benefits, my benefits, 15, 20 years down the road, or are we going to continue to expend that and ultimately have to make up those differences with general tax revenues?
Okay, Lou, you get the last 30 seconds here.
The general tax revenue is the only way to fix it in its current form. That's the only way to fix it. And all they're trying to do is do what the voters want. So the voters over 55 don't want to mess with the system, so they won't. And the younger voters not only don't want it, they're not paying into it. And if they do the private accounts, you get more participation. So I think it's an eloquent political solution, and the opposition is not very strong right now. Even Harry Reid
you're
was
kidding.
for private accounts.
I'm sorry, Louis. The minority leader is definitely against this. He says it's not going to fly.
He was but he was for it in '99, and he's on the record. Okay, and that's the problem.
And many Republicans as well have expressed concerns about this proposal.
Because they talk out of both sides of their mouth. But
okay,
in the bottom line,
gentlemen, we're out of time.
Yeah,
we'll continue this in the break, but we'll take a break right now. We'll be back with the pundits on Nevada Newsmakers. Thank you, gentlemen. If you have a passion for identifying issues facing Nevada's educational system and making a difference, we'd like to hear from you. Sunbelt Communications Company is reforming its editorial board and is now accepting applications from the public. The 15-member board will meet regularly to seek solutions to problems from kindergarten to higher education. If you're interested in applying, send your reasons and a brief history of your background to Joanne Prevetti at 1500 Four Master Lane in Las Vegas. The zip code is 89101. You can also email your information to jprevetti@kvbc.com. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers in just about a minute.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And stand by for a terrific Power Pundit panel today. Andy Barbano is here, editor of NevadaLabor.com. Mary Lau, the executive director of the Retail Association of Nevada, one of our proud sponsors, and Alfredo Alonso with Lionel, Sawyer, and Collins. I got to start off with something that I saw this morning on Fox, where they had commentators from the left and right talking about this war going on between Harry Reid and the White House. And the conservative commentator referred to Harry Reid as an affable old guy who had risen via the Peter Principle. Your response to that, Alfredo?
That's politics. I mean, let's face it, now that Senator Reid is the minority leader, it's high-stakes politics. And, you know,
an affable old guy?
Well, of course it's silly. I mean, and that's what this whole fight is. It's silly. I think they're taking a new tact where they attack the credibility of the minority. I don't believe it'll work. I think especially Harry Reid is a little smarter than the next guy, or he wouldn't be where he's at. So I think, again, it's going to pass.
Okay, Mary?
This is, well, go ahead, Mary.
Well, the whole idea is asinine. I mean, they sitting there at the slams on Reid and then the slams on the president. You know, the Reid's got a war room and he's going to criticize everything Bush says, and we're going to attack Condoleezza and everything else. It's like, I think the public is getting sick and tired of that.
But isn't it going to result in total gridlock?
Of course it is, and it's stupid.
The American public wants
why are we playing
gridlock.
this game? You think they want gridlock?
We want gridlock.
I don't think so. I think we're tired of this game. Why don't we show some leadership?
Harry Reid needs to hire some good joke writers. He's got a sense of humor. He rarely shows it, but when when attack politics, the politics of personal destruction start hitting you like that, you got to take a lesson from Bill Raggio. Bill Raggio deflects a lot of criticism by having a quick quip ready when somebody hits him with something. Even if it's substantive, you can turn it around on them, and Reid needs to get some good joke writers working for him to turn that kind of stuff around and make the opposition look like the fools they are.
But are you saying you like that kind of behavior?
I'm saying I appreciate a good joke.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on. Property taxes came up with the legislature yesterday. Anything come out that was of great import?
I've come up with the solution to property taxes, Sam. I'll solve it in one fell swoop. You want to take care of the property tax problem? You take over all property, you eliminate private property, go communist, and there are no property taxes under that kind of a system. So if you want to eliminate property taxes, the answer is communist.
Okay, let's move on.
That would be one way.
Thank you, Stalin.
That would be one way.
I think that you're going to see a lot of different ideas come up. I think the debate's only begun. There's clearly a problem in the sense that everyone has an idea. No one knows whether that idea will actually work. I don't know whether the caps will work. Clearly, in a state like Nevada, where you have a huge amount of our budget coming from a tourist-based economy, it makes it very difficult to make the property tax section of it also unstable, which is what they could do if they're not careful.
Mary, what did you think?
They're really asking for trouble, and I think you can't find a solution in a few months. It's been escalating and growing. It's been debated through multiple sessions. We had property tax conversations last session, even in some of the exemptions and stuff. You know, I'll be surprised if they're not going to have to Band-Aid it and then do subcommittees again and really work on it.
And
it's not going to happen.
And the thought of a
time.
Prop 13 solution
Isn't that a scary
is
thing?
amazing. I mean, the fact that we'd actually follow in California's footsteps on this one is incredible that we're even talking about.
Well, we go back to it because of Prop 13 is why we revamped our tax system.
You know, I want to go back to what Speaker Hetrick said. I mean, sorry. No, changed houses there.
He'll let you say that.
Minority Leader Hetrick said on the program last week about a feeding frenzy. That this money, the excess money that's been collected, is not going to be going back to the public, and there's going to be a feeding frenzy down in the capital city, and he is just being a realist to see that it's being spent wisely.
Realism is that we are still a state that is growing quickly. We have tremendous growth problems. The growth causes the problems. We are still not addressing the problems by addressing them with proper amounts of money. And here we are talking about wanting to cut taxes and return taxes when we don't have enough revenue to take care of all of our needs. And so we really don't want to pay for what we are getting, and we're looking to pass the buck. Nevada still is very, very backward in its tax structure, and we're going to be self-destructive one more time because of the atmosphere down at the ledge.
We're always talking about needs, but in actuality, Andy, they're wants. If you turn around and really address the problem and get rid of some programs that don't work anymore, isolate your spending, and then spend the appropriate amount of money, yes.
Okay,
but traditionally, hold on, dude, traditionally, they end up with a feeding frenzy. And unless behavior patterns are changed, we'll see it again.
What do we
Hopefully
do?
there'll be behavior
What
patterns
do we do?
changed.
Eliminate, balance the budget on the backs of the physically and mentally disabled like we always do?
No,
That's what always happens. What do you want to eliminate?
We're doing political speak again.
What do you
and
want
we're
to
playing
eliminate?
the same games.
What do you want
How
to
about
eliminate?
doing some outcome-based? If you've got 10 programs that do basically the same thing, 3 of them work, give them more money and get rid of the other ones that don't.
Like with prisons. Prisons don't work to rehabilitate prisoners, so let's eliminate some prisons.
Okay, hang on a second. Alfredo, we've got about 45 seconds.
I think at the end of the day, we have to look at our tax base, make sure that it's broadened, and whether we look at that over the next 10 years or not, I think will determine where the direction of the state goes. I think in terms of the existing money, obviously that debate has started. I'm not going to tell you that I know where that money is going to end up going, but I think you're both right. I think that there needs to be an accountability for that money, but there are a lot of programs out there that need to be funded, including education.
But don't you think, bottom line, that when the public realizes that they're not going to get that $300 back from the state, that there's going to be a lot of anger out there?
Well, we thought there was going to be a hue and cry after the tax increase last time, and it didn't happen. Sam, your financial advisor guy on with Tim Hay earlier said you don't have to pay income tax on 1099 earnings. He said that 3 times. He's flat wrong and was misinforming the public.
We'll do some checking into that. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. Okay, so we're going to...
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Coming up tomorrow, State Budget Director Perry Como. We'll see you then.